cannot close deals if you are not showing houses. Now, think back to when you got licensed. Did they actually show you how to show houses? After selling 100 properties myself and helping hundreds of agents, I've realized that there definitely is a right and wrong way to show houses. And unfortunately, sometimes that can determine your success as a real estate agent. I want to stick around for number 5 because this will definitely determine if somebody's actually going to purchase or if they're not going to purchase that property. All right, let's jump right into it. I'm going to give you guys 7 different ways you can ensure you're showing properties the right way. Now, coming in at number 1, you want to make sure that I'm going to give you an illustration here. You're going to want to make sure that you're showing properties the right way by researching the property first. So this is my little book here. Not only do you want to know about the property, but you want to know the ins and outs of the neighborhood. You want to know certain things that the buyer is not going to know or the seller might have given you an indication on. A lot of the times you can ask the seller for specific things. What I like doing first and foremost when I'm having or going on a listing presentation, let's say I represent the seller, I always ask why they love their house. What is it that kept them in this house for so long? Or if I'm a buyer's agent, I always want to ask the listing agent, hey, what are some key things that that your sellers may love about the property? Or if you know the area very well, you can kind of figure those out yourself. But knowing a couple key details and a couple things that are very let's say they can't find them on the internet, that's going to be a difference maker when they see a house. Let's say if they do see a house with another agent and the other agent's just reading off the MLS sheet. So you definitely want to do your research. You want to understand the property details, its highlights, surrounding amenities, be able to answer any questions the buyer may have, things about the school catchments, things about the crime rate. Even I've come across buyers that wanted to know the crime rate in the area, like crazy things. And a lot of times you can pull this stuff off like realtor.ca and things like that. But you do want to make sure that you're doing your research before going to the actual property, which is why we suggest not to do 15 properties in one single day. Now, moving on, the number 2 way to ensure that you're showing properties the correct way is to plan your route. Now, guys, I can't tell you how many times I messed this up at the beginning of my career being a realtor, but I would essentially have a house located here, house located here, house located here, and house located here. And essentially, what I did, because I didn't know the neighborhoods and I don't know the areas, is I would essentially start at this house. I would then go to this house, and then I would then go to this house, and then I would maybe go to a house over here, and then I'd go back to this house. And let's say if there was another house over here, I would go back to this house. Now, what you want to do is you want to go essentially this house to this house to this house to this house to this house and back at this house. Now, this is going to make a huge difference because one, you're not spending so much time with the buyer or the seller or whatever it may be. You're not spending so much time just stuck in traffic. Two, they're not going to get frustrated. A lot of the times, these buyers know the area, especially if they're from the neighborhood. They know the best ways to go to avoid traffic, even. So if you're putting them in a mishmash way of getting to different houses, sure. I mean, one thing I used to say to be completely transparent is, hey, you know what, that one couldn't show at this time, this one couldn't show at that time. That was my excuse at the beginning of my career. But honestly, you just need to schedule them properly and make sure you put it in order, and you can just use Google Maps to figure out exactly where those houses are. So that's the second one. You want to make sure you plan your route. So another R here. Now, next is gonna be a little bit of a different one, and this can be done with some preparation, but I'm gonna draw this here, and this is essentially that's my version of a candle. But what you want to do is you want to create a welcoming environment. So when you are going to show the homes, you want to make sure that all lights are turned on. If they have any scents or any sprays that they have going on in the house, you want to make sure that's on. If they've got like a music box or you can put the TV on with some music on, you kind of want to set the stage and really make that first good impression because a buyer's going to walk into this house and they're going to try to picture them and their family living there. If it's just a dark place, the AC's on or the heat's not on and it just feels cold, they're going to get a cold feeling right away and they're probably not going to want to put an offer on a property. I can't tell you guys how many times that I walked into very similar properties because let's say it was two condos and one condo was just empty. Heat had been turned off for a week and the next condo was like 15K more, but it was welcoming. Furniture was amazing. They had smells going on, freshly baked cookies, all the good stuff, right? So it really makes a difference when you're taking buyers, especially people who end up wanting to live in these properties rather than investors. It makes the world of a difference if you can make the environment extremely welcoming. Now, next is you want to start with key features. So a little bit like I said, research, but you want to start with essentially, this is my version of a key. Kind of looks a little bit weird, but don't get any wrong ideas here. This is a key, but you want to start with giving the key features. And these are things, again, that are not, make this key better for you guys, not on the MLS sheet. Guys, they can read the MLS sheet. They don't need you for that. They want key features such as, hey, you know what? This coffee shop is actually amazing. Like I come here all the time and come here every weekend, and special events. Let's say in our area, like there's something called May Days in Ladner, and I know all about that because I worked at the bank for like 3, 4 years in that area, and I can speak on that. I can start to give examples of my real life experience. If you don't have any, you can always sign up for blog posts in your area. There's a bunch of people that always have like weekly newsletters or daily newsletter. I get a daily newsletter in my area. So you want to start with those key features. Again, things that they can't really find just by looking on the internet. Now, next, you want to do something very important, and this kind of comes after they've toured the home and after they've actually seen the entire place. But you want to essentially, I'm going to draw this out for you. You want to essentially, let's just pretend it's back in COVID time, but 5 feet, just to signify you want to give them space. So, especially if they are a couple or they're like, let's say, friends or whatever it may be, a lot of the times they might not feel comfortable expressing their opinions to you without having validated those feelings between themselves first. So I can't tell you how many times that I've asked for an opinion straight off the bat and I just get nothing. Like I get, oh, it was good, or yeah, it was cool, it was a nice house. But when I step back, give them 5 minutes to talk about it, and then ask them, they have a much more well thought out response to give me, which then I can take that feedback and start putting that into let's say the next property that I want to show them, or let's say I can take some properties out because let's say they hated that this property had uh, let's say it had laminate all over the place or whatever it may be. Now I can reduce all the listings by taking out all the ones that have laminate all over the place. So it's key giving them space and making sure that they have time to process the house and give them that space. It's a big decision at the end of the day. They're putting all their trust in you, but you need to also realize that they're humans and they need that time to make that decision. And that was number 5. That was the most important one because that can make or break a deal, especially if you don't understand what the negatives are that they see. Like you can keep showing them a property with laminate flooring, laminate flooring, laminate flooring, but if you didn't give that time to express that to you, then you're not going to get anywhere with those buyers. Now, number 6 is going to be transparent. So this is my transparent agent, and this guy is telling the buyers everything they need to know. This is very important because at the end of the day, guys, you don't want to just be going for a commission. He's being transparent and he's telling the buyers exactly what they need to know. So you need to address the potential issues and work with honesty when telling them these things. So if the roof is super old and you know it's going to need replacing, let them know that, because at the end of the day, yeah, you can conceal that to try to get the deal done, but 2, 3 years later, they're going to call you and say, hey, JP, what the heck? Our roof is falling apart. You didn't even let us know. Maybe they didn't get an inspection. Maybe the market was too hot and it was just too crazy, but you kind of knew that. Then you want to really let them know. It'll also build trust. So if you're, let's say, telling them, hey, this property is actually like not really good, I can't tell you how many times I gave that advice to buyers and they are like, holy shit, like, why are you telling me this? Don't you want to sell the house? Why do you keep, don't you want to like stop showing us places? I'm like, no. At the end of the day, I do want to get paid, sure, but I want to make sure you're happy because that's going to lead to more referrals. That's going to lead to my business going on. And that's going to lead to you guys being happy at the end of the day. Now, last but definitely not least is the big F. Now, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but this stands for feedback. Feedback is crucial when it comes to showings because, like I said a little bit earlier, you want to make sure that you know exactly what their buyer preferences are. A lot of the times, I don't even expect to show them the right house on the first showing. If you did a good job in discovery, sure, but at the end of the day, more things are going to come up and there's going to be things that they might not like that they didn't even know they didn't like. So they couldn't even tell you in the first place. But you just showing them houses and actually gathering that feedback, that's going to allow you to build a case for the next house that you show them. And that's going to be the key difference maker in you being a successful agent rather than you being an agent who just shows a bunch of houses to people and they never end up buying. So there you have it. These are my 7 key tips on how to show a property properly to ensure that you're actually making the difference and making the sale. If you are lacking clients and you don't have the clients to even show on properties, I put a link below that to my calendar where you can book a call and we can show you how we can implement our client acquisition machine in your business to bring you an additional 2 to 4 closings per month in your real estate business. Until next one, see ya.